80% of water system in the world has been contaminated with one form of pollutant or the other. And we need to also conserve water as natural resources, and that's one of the reasons why clean water is important. And clean water has been associated with poverty reduction. Someone who is sick and is being affected by unclean water, the person will not be able to take care of himself or herself, and the rate at which poverty will affect the person will increase. So poverty, water pollution are two sides of coins that remain inseparable. There are a number of techniques that are available that can be used for treatment of polluted water. The methods could be chemical methods, could be the physical methods, and biological methods. In my research group, I focus on the three techniques that are put in color other than black. Photodegradation, which is the usage of photocatalysts for breaking down of complex pollutants into simpler molecules, such as water and CO2. And in that way, the water will be safe for use either industrially or for domestic application. And photodegradation is an aspect of advanced oxidation process. And that process is under it could be chemical or physical method. And we also have coagulation. That's application of coagulants or coagulate material for the precipitation of humic substances or other molecules in water, as well as adsorption. 80% of my research is on adsorption, and we focus majorly on adsorption study this evening. And adsorption is the process by which pollutant from water are transferred to the surface of adsorbents, which is the material that will be used for adsorption process. In the process, the adsorbent will sequestrate, remove the adsorbate, which is the pollutant from water. Then the water will be safe to use. Why is physical chemistry important in water treatment? To determine either the adsorption data will be published in a reputable journal depends on the usage of physical chemistry techniques. That's data modeling. If these models can be used properly, that will give good interpretation of the data obtained from the laboratory, and the data can be published in a high impact factor journal. But if the data are poorly analyzed using physical chemistry tools, the data will not go anywhere. Or if it is published, it may not even be cited. So ability to use all these tools will increase even the citation of a paper that is published. And in data analysis or modeling in water research, in adsorption study, adsorbent will be made to come in contact with adsorbate. Through the process, the adsorbate will be removed by the adsorbents. And at the end of the day, the percentage of pollutant or adsorbate being removed will be calculated. And the experiments in the laboratory are always being carried out with pH being varied, time, the concentration of the pollutant, and other variables. So all these data will be subjected to kinetics modeling, equilibrium modeling, thermodynamic equation for proper understanding of the interaction between the adsorbate and adsorbent. And that's what will give us good understanding of the whole removal process. And some of the kinetic models we used are listed here: pseudo first order, pseudo second order, general order. The advantage of using general order is that the data will not be constrained to a particular order of reaction. This model, we calculate the order of reaction. The order of reaction can be fractional, can be whole number. That's the essence of using general order. We also have other models like intraparticle diffusion that tell the mechanism of the reaction, as well as Liu, Aframi fractional order. Then the concentration-dependent data can also be subjected to the equilibrium models that are also known as isothermal models. And the most popular one is Langmuir. Then we have Friendly's, we have Liu, Sips, and the rest. And thermodynamic equations are used, especially fans off, to calculate parameters such to determine the spontaneity, the exothermic of the adsorption process, the dissolubiliness of adsorption process. This is a book chapter published in Carbon and Carbon Materials and its environmental application. In this book chapter, which has been cited more than 400 times since 2015, we encourage the researcher in this field to use non-linear models. The equation models presented earlier in the previous slide, they are non-linear models. Absorption researchers, why trying to use linear equations, linear models to fit, to describe, to discuss, to analyze the absorption data, normally remove some data points, and that will reduce the integrity of the data obtained. So in this book chapter, there's a discussion on the problem coming from linearization of equation in absorption study. When we carry out absorption study and we subject data to the different models, the suitability of each model will be adjudged by a number of statistical parameters, such as root or mean square error, which will give the relationship between the theoretical data as well as experimental data obtained in the lab. And the lower the value of RMSE, then the closer the theoretical data and the experimental data. Likewise, the correlation coefficient and adjusted correlation coefficient, when the values of these parameters are closer to 1, that means that models fit the absorption data suitably. And there are different materials that can be converted into useful materials for water treatment. A lot of materials are available. There are some materials that we even call waste, but they are starting materials for the production of adsorbents, coagulants, and photocatalysts. However, the raw material may not be good material for water treatment. There are some modifications that will be made on the material to improve the efficiency of the material in wastewater and water treatment. And most of the time we use chemical method. There are some activating agents we add to the material to activate the surface area of the material for better performance. However, the introduction, when we introduce those chemicals, the activating agent, they will be get rid of by proper washing with distilled or deionized water. Likewise, the materials may be pyrolyzed, and after pyrolysis or carbonization, what will be left will be carbonaceous material that will be safe for water treatment. It is expected that after carbonization, no toxic material will be present in the material, and the material will be used safely for water treatment. So, chemical process, physical process, and the combination of the two processes can be used for treatment of material to produce useful material for water treatment. And when material is produced, the materials will be studied, will be characterized to compare the commercial materials with the new material that are being produced in the laboratory to really know that what we produce for water treatment is what we intend to produce. And these are some of the techniques for characterization of material before we apply the material for water treatment. I'll use this opportunity to present some of the research outputs from my research group. The first one, this research paper was published early this year, 2025, and this discussed the usage of biochar from potato leaf for removal of Prussian orange, which is a dye, a pollutant that can be carcinogenic, that can cause mutagenesis, a lot of health problems for the people that consume them. And in this study, we proved that this leaf, which can be gotten freely, that is available, that is eco-friendly, that is sustainable, can be converted to efficient adsorbent for water treatment. The adsorbent we produced and reported in this paper is a highly porous material with good surface area, and material could remove, as seen, like 0.8 gram of the dye. 1 gram of that material can take up 0.8 gram of the dye from water. In most of the experiments we perform in the lab, we always use simulated water. For instance, if we produce an adsorbent for water treatment, we apply the adsorbent for removal of one dye. However, that is not applicable for proper treatment of industrial effluent, because in textile wastewater, for instance, we contain a lot of dyes and other auxiliary chemicals. So while carrying out research, we also put into consideration that to apply the material in real water system, there will be a need to simulate industrial effluent, and we apply the material for industrial treatment. And the biochar produced from sweet potato leaf is a good adsorbent, and that adsorbent, that material can be deployed for removal of dye from dye-contaminated water. This is another research published in 2025, this year, by Journal of Hazardous and Radioactive Waste, which is a subsidiary of American Society of Civil Engineering. And in this research, we proved that it is possible to use used foam, that's polyurethane foam, for recovery, for extraction, for adsorption, for removal of zinc and other fallible metals from aqueous solution. The original intention was to recover zinc from spent battery, and zinc from spent battery was leached into the aqueous solution, and we used adsorption process to recover, to extract zinc from that solution, which means that the polyurethane foam, the foam that we discard, can be converted into useful adsorbent for water treatment. And this is another research published 2024 by Green Energy and Resources. Here, the synthesis, characterization, and application of zinc oxide nanoparticles. The zinc was for the removal of methyl green from water, was reported here. And this is a green synthesis. The method reported here is sustainable. The method is facile, is cheap. The nucleolatifolar extract was used as capping agent, stabilizing agent for the synthesis of zinc oxide nanoparticle. And information from some of this study can be provide baseline data information for the industry on the treatment of their wastewater before they are discharged into the water body or into the environment. And the treated water, the effluent can also be treated and reused in the operation in the industry that does not require pure or clean water. Maybe there are some secondary operations that require clean water that is not clean. Treated effluent can be treated. Effluent can be treated and used for the water reuse in the industry. And here, this is another work reported, published by Scientific Report. Here, the preparation of a composite from coconut husk as well as clay and iron was reported. The material was properly characterized and used effectively for removal of Congo red from water. The material prepared was porous, efficient adsorbent. That material was able to sequestrate, even up to 1,000 milligram of Congo red in water. We also use simulated water to test the performance of the composite prepare. The composite prepare is safe. The iron that was used for the chemical activation was removed through efficient washing before usage. And the composite could be used for the treatment of wastewater that is contaminated with dyes. And this is another research that was published by Journal of Cleaner Production. And in this research is under photodegradation. And the method reported here is also sustainable. The method is also eco-friendly. And here, photodegradation of acid yellow was reported. And the analysis of degradation product so that what we have in the water after the degradation process was CO2 as well as H2O and CO2. And this method we eliminate the tedious work that is required from separating the photocatalyst from the water after water treatment. In this study, we synthesized niobium oxide nanoparticles, which were deposited on broken fluorescent tubes. So fluorescent tube was used as a support, and the zinc oxide was spread on it and used for photodegradation of acid yellow from water. The method was effective. And in this report, the preparation, characterization, application of graphene produced from local coal was used for removal of Congo red. So the coal that we have here in Nigeria, bituminous coal, can be converted using the non-combustible method into graphene oxide that will be effective, be efficient for water treatment. Then in another study reported, published in Journal of Environmental Chemical Engineering, different parts of Moringa oleifera's, the different parts of the seeds were converted into various adsorbents. And here, no chemical treatment. Since there's no chemical treatment, biosorbents, the term biosorbent was used. And different parts of the Moringa oleifera as biosorbents were used for proper water treatment. Another report published in 2021 by Resources, Environment and Sustainability. The removal of phenol and 4-nitrophenol were reported by the usage of clay, the composite prepared from clay and coconut shell. And the activating agent, chemical activating agent used here is potassium hydroxide, which was eliminated before the composite was used. Uh, okay, next slide. Okay, so why are we talking about phenol and nitrophenol? Why do they need to get, why do they get into water? A lot of industrial processes, the starting materials they use is phenolic compounds. And these phenolic compounds constitute a major pollutant in the wastewater coming from a number of industry from uh, from a number of industry. Uh, then this is another research that reported the removal of Congo red from Akel's solution using Hake apple seed. Hake apple seed and bentonite composite. We look at these materials are readily available. So they are not waste, they are not only byproducts, but they are starting material for us. And they are good materials, they are good precursors by which good, excellent adsorbents can be prepared from. And the composites produced from these raw materials can be used effectively for water treatment. This is another report published by Journal of Environmental and Chemical Engineering. And this reported the utilization, the usage of boucher prepared from elephant grass for removal of nitrate from water. Nitrate gets into water, phosphate also gets into water through a number of agricultural practices such as application of fertilizer, and those pollutants must be removed before the water will become safe. And this is a report. Next slide. These reports published by Journal Analytical Letters in 2020, all the publications presented here, they were published in the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years thereabout. These reports prove that avocado pear exocap can be converted into good material for water treatment, for removal of heavy metal from aqueous solution, removal of water that is contaminated with heavy metal. So all these techniques reported here are not limited to the laboratory experimentation. They can be applied industrially to treat industrial effluent. And this is another completed research. This research is on is the formation of coagulants that can replace alum. Alum is the major coagulant that we are familiar with. But this is a material that is friendly, that is not toxic, and that can be easily dispersed in water, that can precipitate a lot of humic substances from water, hence render the water safe to use. And here we can see the Son of Man is now happy because there is access to clean water. Then these are the ongoing research. There are two important research that are going on, which is conversion of biomass, agricultural products, byproducts into cellulose as well as nanocellulose for removal of emerging contaminants. In the society, in this ecosystem nowadays, there are a number, countless of emerging contaminants that will lead to one environmental problem or the other. Also, another one that's going on is a conversion of agricultural byproducts into useful solvents for oil spill remediation. These are the references consulted during the course of this presentation. I thank the Nigeria Academic of Sciences as a body for this good opportunity for the invitation to be here to present my research activity. And especially, I thank the president of the Nigeria Academy of Sciences, as well as the incoming president. And the executive secretary of Nigeria Academic of Sciences has been wonderful. Likewise, the secretariat, people have been praising the secretariat. Those guys are wonderful. Like my mentors, I attended a training in Lagos some weeks ago. We were told there are bad mentors and there are good mentors. So I thank God that God blessed me with wonderful, great mentors. And among them is Professor Kehinde Okonjo, who has retired from University of Ibadan. Likewise, a great mentor that I can never forget in my life, Professor Jonathan Oyebamiji Babalala, who is the Vice Chancellor of Bowen University. He supervised my master's and PhD thesis at University of Ibadan. Then the tutelage I enjoyed under Professor Heda Lima in Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, Professor Michael Gradeski, Professor Magalensin, Ayesami from FUTA, Professor Emeritus Lajide from FUTA, Professor Okoronko from FUTA. They are all my mentors. I cannot list all my mentors in the course of program. And I have my mama here, Professor Olakpeju Ayelagbe. My collaborators are listed on the slide. I cannot mention all their names, as well as the management of the Federal University of Technology under the leadership of Professor Adenike Oladiji. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for your support, for the research, for the opportunities. Likewise, all former and the present by present and former postgraduate students, I acknowledge their cooperation while working with me in the lab. The scholarship from University of Ibadan postgraduate school, the DAD German Academic Exchange Program, as well as TWAS CMPQ Fellowship to Brazil, all contributed to my success of today. And my wife, who was absent here because of other engagements, I have to thank her for her support as well as my handsome boys. So thank you for listening. I'll say thank you, obrigado, and danke schön. Thank you.
Please, um, the next phase is the question and answers. Um, if you didn't understand what he said, please consult me. Uh, why are you laughing? uh, no, no, don't worry. We'll interpret it with AI. All right. I think there are no questions, therefore there will be no answers. Um, oh, okay. There are hands up there, please. Yes, the blue, the blue suit, yeah. You want to ask one or two questions? Please sit down. Yes. Dr. Adebayo, I hope you are writing down.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful work. They are very ingenious. Now, I just want to ask a question, perhaps two questions. Now, for the work, for the substances and the compounds you've worked on, is there any form of safety profiling you intend to do on them by collaborating with biological scientists, particularly biochemists? I also want, maybe a form of an advice, if I'm able to give that actually. For many, one of the issues we have with research in Nigeria is their ability to have industrial relevance. So I don't know if there are steps being taken to make these compounds or substances that we've discovered have the potential for water purification, to have industrial relevance. So the industrial relevance and the safety profiling, there are two issues I think can be looked into. And maybe there are works done on them that you might want to, tell us about. Thank you very much, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, one, and then we'll have one more after the young man. Please.
Okay, my name is Wasil Raji. I want to congratulate you on the award. And my question is about real field application of your science. I've seen a number of water treatment applications and endeavors that were lab-based. I'm a geophysicist and an hydrogeologist. I have worked on some sub-regional scale water treatment, groundwater exploration. And I was going to ask you if you have had situation to apply any of these components, not in the lab, but on the field. Let me create a scenario that the entrance to this hotel is the upstream section. And coming down is where we have the communities that utilize this water. I'm setting this scenario to say, have you actually gone out to treat water that is coming from a river and that is still flowing through rocks and sand to make sure that what you have used to remove the contaminants have not gone ahead to react with rocks and other natural components through the process while it's flowing, even to get contaminated? So beyond lab scale, that's specific. Thank you.
Okay, one last question. Professor Tijani.
Yeah, thank you. I think congratulations once again. I think the last questioner already stole part of my question. And part of my question would have been, to complement what he said is to say, apart from the field scale, if you try to patent any of these products in a way that it can be deployed in rural water purification. So I think the rural dwellers might need that to purify the water they are getting from rivers and springs that are dirty in a way. So with the with the field scale prototype, I think the next phase will have been how do you patent some of these products and then it can be upscaled into use. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Professor Adebayo, your response, please. Or you can come here. You can.
Thank you for the questions. About safety, this type of research is an applied research. An individual cannot do it alone. Most of the study, we carry out toxicology studies on the materials. on the materials, also on water before treatment and after treatment. So we collaborate with people in biochemistry, microbiology in that aspect. Also, we wrote a proposal for test fund the other time, and part of the uh, people involved in developing the proposal, some of them are from industry, so that we have inputs from them on how the materials can be developed and can be deployed uh, on the, real for the treatment of the real effluents from the industry. This research has a lot of practical application. There is a student who will defend his thesis that is being co-supervised by me in FUTA. The student developed about 4 adsorbents, and the student used the materials for treatments of water in the vicinity of 2 popular industry in the southwest. I don't want to mention that the city as well as the industry. So that's real time application of the adsorbent for water treatment. And to be surprised that the water sample from the industry are highly polluted. And with the application of the materials, those materials were able to remove those pollutants up to the permissible levels. So all the materials we're talking about here, they can be applied in a real sense for water treatment. Also, in all our studies, we also carry out simulation study where we simulate effluents of different concentrations that we mimic the effluent coming out from the industry. For instance, we are talking about textile effluent. We can mix about 7 dyes, dye from different classes together with auxiliary chemicals that are being used in textile industry for modernity process, whatever. We mix them together and we apply adsorbents for the treatment of the simulated water, which means that practically those adsorbents can be used um, for water, proper water treatment. For the patent, there's a discussion with one of my collaborators in Brazil, and there is a work we are working on, that's generation of converting of biomass to adsorbents, also for generation of energy. That's so we are working on that to see if a patent can come out from that. I think I've answered of all the questions raised. Okay.
Thank you, Professor Babala, Professor Adebayo, for your responses. My offer is still open. But if you didn't understand him, you can still come to me. Uh, and, okay, can we have a photograph with the president and members of the committee? And we'll be, after that, we'll have a closing remark by the president. Professor Achalonu, please come. Madam President, please don't go yet. You are going to give closing remarks, and then we.
There's nothing like that. See him, he's on. See the one to give a purpose and only.
Well, it's time for vote of thanks. I will change the order. Among the Yoruba, they say Egun ńlá ló máa ń gbẹ̀yìn ìgbàlẹ̀. So I know that if you are not here, this ceremony today will be meaningless. And therefore, I want to thank all of you for waiting and for witnessing this ceremony. Can we just give ourselves a round of applause? I want to thank God for the privilege that He has given to the Nigerian Academy of Science for instituting this award. It's actually meant to help people to come up with ideas, develop themselves, strive for excellence. And when the announcement was made, I know efforts were made over and over again. I want to thank all the people that made effort to share that announcement. And I hope that against next year or this year now, the one for this year is going to be for biological sciences. So I want to thank all of you in advance that you are going to share the news that the award is, the call is out and people will apply. I also want to thank all the members of the jury who actually worked, the physical sciences jury, who worked on the assessment of the award for this year. And also to thank the Science Prize Committee headed by Professor Kuku. You've been doing a very great work. I can't see you again. Wait, okay. I was looking for here. Thank God Jesus has not come. So I want to thank you for the good work you have done. And finally, I also want to thank I thank the members of the chair of the jury and all the members of the jury, the science committee, and all the members of the science committee are here, the prize committee. I thank all of you, and I want to thank the council of the Nigerian Academy of Science for the good work you have been doing, and thank the president so much. I don't know how to talk about her. She's a secret admirer. You won't know why. No, she does think without stress, takes life very simple, but you just see her achieving and achieving and achieving. And the younger ones like us, we just be admiring that she's been taking such steps. I want to thank you for the examples you have laid down for many of us. God bless you richly. I want to thank all the past presidents that have made effort to be here, so many of them. I think this is one of the times I'm seeing too many of you at the same time. Thank you. And we want to thank God for today and for this ceremony. So by this, we are bringing to an end the presentation of the 2004 NAS Gold Medal Award. So thank you, God bless you, and see you next year. Thank you.